Welcome back to Face Off. It's time to pick the World Series because we're always right here on Face Off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got this. Braves over the Angels.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Braves.
I will take.
Yes, I picked against my boy Mike Trout. How do you like that?
I will take the Tigers over the Dodgers in 7 games.
Reds, Orioles in the least exciting World Series ever.
That will be probably the worst rated World Series ever.
Worst thing ever.
The only thing that could be worse is if you get two West teams like A's, D-backs.
Oh.
Yeah,
That could be in the playoffs and could
the
be
Moneyball World Series.
I might actually like that.
That would be the worst rated TV series, World Series ever. Anyway, something other than baseball, the NCAA tournament. Yes, March Madness, Florida Gulf Coast defining the madness. First 15 seed to make the Sweet 16, upsetting Georgetown.
City.
Our brackets are busted completely. My bracket was busted after the second day.
Same here.
Thanks Kansas State.
Yeah.
Had them in the Elite Eight.
Can't trust Bruce Weber.
Yeah. Anyway, Vin.
Yeah.
Can Florida Gulf Coast beat their compadres from Gainesville?
They are going to get destroyed by Florida. They have this. They have a couple days off. Look, I don't want it to happen because I hate Florida. I think Billy Donovan's a little bit. I mean, I like him. He's a little bit of a schmuck. But I mean,
I don't like Billy Donovan.
I would like to see Gulf Coast win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Florida. I mean, any Billy Donovan coach team that is that athletic. I know Florida Gulf Coast is athletic, but you can figure out that offense.
I agree with you at the point of I think the days off could be the reason they lose. Would be all the attention getting to their head and having those days off and this blowing up.
They got a little arrogant in the end of the game against San Diego State.
I could see that, but I think they can beat Florida.
No shot.
I think they will. Honestly, I think they can. I think they will do it because I just want to see. It's just going to be so great to have Florida Gulf Coast beat Florida with players that Florida didn't want.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
But I do think they will lose to Kansas in the Elite Eight.
I'm going to say 80-20 odds Florida wins because,
Yeah.
aside from the reason that definitely I think Billy Donovan is certainly, obviously the most tenured coach in that situation, but you also look at the other side. The Florida Gulf Coast won both games by 10-plus points. You know, if they're winning handily, it's not as if it was just
it's not like it was buzzer beater. They were beating these teams by double digits,
almost handling these games very handily. So there is a little room for that upset, but I do think that Florida, who has been a favorite going into the tournament, I think they can roll through.
Anyway, a favorite in terms of seeding, not by national expectations. If you talk to some people, Gonzaga out in the second round to Wichita State.
The flow didn't work.
Yeah. The Southwest Philly floater.
He's soft.
Should small conference schools, guys, have a number one seed?
I didn't like Gonzaga going into the tournament. I kind of scoffed at the idea.
I don't think anybody did.
I scoffed at the idea of them being a favorite running the tournament. I saw Digger Phelps talking on ESPN about how everyone should be afraid of Gonzaga. And you look at their schedule, they didn't play anyone. They really didn't play anyone. If we're talking about, like, let's say in college football, you have Boise State able to upset a few, of the higher seeded guys, and they get into they get into the Rose Bowl or something like that, then, like, that's understandable. That's, like, completely, if Gonzaga, like, let's say, like, uprooted Duke in a game or they made some kind of valid point in the season at some point, they won a big game, then I would understand them getting that one seed. But you can't just have them because they won consistently. Like, that just doesn't make enough sense for me.
Now, I'm going to say yes. Let me ask you a question. If Gonzaga had been undefeated, you wouldn't have given them a number one seed.
You don't have a choice.
How many ranked people are they beating?
They only had 2 losses.
Yeah.
All year.
No, but I mean, like, out of all the wins that they had, like, how many were ranked?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah, like.
But I think if you have the best record in the country, I don't care what conference you're in, you should be rewarded with a number one seed because these are all Division I basketball teams. I mean, even the top conference teams lose to some smaller conference teams, get upset in the regular season every year. So a team experiences that. If you have the best record in the country, I don't care what conference you're in, you should have a number one seed. And they're all not as bad as Gonzaga because I know Gonzaga people didn't think Gonzaga was going to get very far. I had them out in the Sweet 16. They ended up losing in the second round.
Same here.
But let me tell you why you should give small conference schools the number one seed because they deserve it. 2004, St. Joe's. This was before the A-10 was highly regarded as it is now in terms of right underneath the power conferences. They made it to the Elite Eight. So they did live up to the expectations being number one
Okay,
seed. They
but
made
it
deep into
happens.
the
Okay,
tournament.
but it happens too much. What happens to Gonzaga happens too much. A team like Miami
How many small
should have been.
conference schools are getting
A
number
team
one
like a
seeds?
team like Miami should have been number one.
Absolutely.
I think unless they're undefeated or they beat enough ranked opponents, they should be number one because it's just it just to me they haven't earned it. And to me, I will always say this: the year for Gonzaga to get to a Final Four was Morrison's last year when they lost to UCLA the way they did. That was their last year. I'm sorry, I don't unless they're undefeated, and I understand 2 losses. Yes, they deserve it, but I don't think it should happen because they're never going to get there, and it's a waste. I'm sorry, it's just really a waste.
You said it yourself, like you had them leaving in the Sweet 16, like that.
Yeah, so
like,
you're not really you yourself are not expecting anything out of them.
Everyone, yeah.
The number one seeds have lost in Sweet 16 before. What's the difference?
No, we know that, but
Yeah, but
it
you're
was
not.
the general
But you're not
perspective is
expecting.
that-
You
is that-
expect Duke. You expect Kansas. You expect
Yeah.
UNC. You expect Kentucky to go to the Final Four. You don't expect Gonzaga to do that.
Yeah.
Boy, I think they should be rewarded with a number one seed because they have the best
If I'm
record
on
in
the
country.
committee, I don't do it.
I
Sorry.
think it goes by worth. I don't think it goes by entitlement. I don't know.
We're going to close the show out with Game Ball. Who you got?
My game ball's going to Captain America, guys. David Wright getting 5 RBIs in the World Baseball Classic before injuring himself. Shut up. This is all I have. This is all I have. That's it. David, you're all I have, so I have to give you this game ball. So thank you for getting a new nickname, Captain America. Thank you for helping the country and serving us and making us all very proud, including me.
Andy Enfield, coach of Florida Gulf Coast, has my game ball, and his wife, Rob. Why not? They've been Division I for 3 years, and they're on their way to the Sweet 16. And this is how unpopular Florida Gulf Coast is. Siri, where is Florida Gulf Coast University? Oh boy. Load.
You blew it.
You broke it.
Oh well,
you
so much
blew
for
it.
that. Siri doesn't even know where Florida Gulf Coast University is. Enough said.
She would say there were no matches, but Vin, blew the situation.
Rowan
on the
Internet
live TV.
isn't very kind.
Anyway, my game ball. You know me. I gotta go with the hometown boys, LaSalle, and in particular, Dr. John Giannini, former Rowan basketball coach, led us to a national title in '96. Yeah, Rowan University, former Rowan University coach. Anyway, he in his first 8 years at LaSalle, only 3 of them did they finish with a record over 500. Yet LaSalle stuck with them, and now they're in the Sweet 16. John Giannini.
I'd like to thank him for bumping off Henderson, more so than anything.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting rid of that man. Thank you very much.
Dr. John, hope you make it farther into the tournament. That'll do it this week for Face Off. We'll be back next week. Our baseball predictions will probably already be looking bad, and our tournament brackets will look even worse. But we'll see you next week here on RPM.